Welcome to Nwokea Podcast. My name is Violet Nwokeafore Wade. Today I want to talk about being good enough. A lot of times there is nothing wrong with competition. There's nothing wrong wanting to be the best. There's nothing wrong, achieving and all that. But as I'm growing up and learning so much, I came to realize that being good enough, understanding and loving yourself, and doing things that are good, just being good human, has been underrated. A lot of people do not think that's good enough. We've been taught right from preschool to compete, to be better than somebody else, to be better than your friend, to be better than your classmates. And we carry that into the real world where we are working. So when we are working, instead of us working to be good at what we do, we are busy trying to be better than somebody else. So which leads a lot of people into creating scenarios which are not real to make themselves look better. And if they are able to manipulate and present to their superiors that they are doing better than their counterparts, since their superiors are on the same train of competition, they don't look deep to make sure that these people are actually producing and they are doing the right things for the company or for the organization that they are working for. So this creates an imbalance in our culture that we actually start producing mediocre people. Mediocre in the sense that it's not about doing the right things, it's not about doing the correct things, it's about getting ahead. How do I cut corners to get ahead? How do I manipulate things to get ahead? How do I, do things to get ahead? So that's why I wanted to talk about good enough. I started thinking to myself a while back when I found myself that I was excelling more on math. So even though math was very difficult for me, but I pursued math, and I wanted just to be good enough. I didn't want to, just because somebody else was doing something, I'm gonna compete on their level. I wanted to find out within myself, what am I good at? What am I comfortable at? What do I excel in? What is easier for me? Maybe not easier, but what makes sense to me? And math made sense to me. English, not so much. History, not so much. But math made sense because I saw math in pretty much every aspect of my life, every aspect of life. I saw math um, in teaching. I saw math in medicine. I saw math in engineering, in nursing, in all area, all facets of life. There is math. So I did what I saw that applies to all facets of life, which was math. And that's why I pursued math and had my master's in math. So when I started working, I remember a lot of people, I just wanted to do well for the company. I had something to offer, I thought. I knew. So I looked for a company that needed um, fixing, or they needed things were not going so well. So I was looking for such companies so that I can bring something to the table. I can make a little difference. And that's how I started working in companies, especially those that were having problems with their customer service department, which I thought was the essence of any company. If your customers are not happy, well, it's obvious if they're not happy, after a while they leave you and go to your competitors. So I joined companies to work in their customer service, customer technical support, to help with the customers and also to bridge that gap between the customer and the rest of the company to, in my own little way, inform the rest of the company, like the software development group, the marketing, the sales, everybody else, that the customer is not just the technical support customer, it's actually the company's customer. So when we work as collaborate together, to work together as a team to make sure we resolve or at least return the customers' calls and answer their questions, we have more chances of retaining the customer to the company. In return, then the company will grow. And for startup companies, they may go public. And if they go public, then everybody wins. So it's a win-win. So that was my vision. And I did have the opportunity to instill that vision and apply that in the companies that I joined. But one of the things I did see when I was in some of these companies was because of competition, some of my colleagues who wanted to get ahead, they wanted to tell the bosses that they are doing so and so, will create scenarios where it looks like there are so many calls coming in, and they will close those calls, ramping up their statistics, their numbers, that so many calls came in and so many calls were resolved. But in essence, our customers were out there hanging. Their problems were not being resolved, and in many cases, we weren't even calling them back. And I remember telling my boss that I do not operate that way. I don't operate on the pretense of creating chaos. Rather, I like to work in a system that if there is a problem, we tackle the problem, we resolve the problem. Because if the company does well, I do well. But unfortunately, some of my bosses did not share the same philosophy with me. They wanted to look good to their bosses, so they aligned with one or two of my colleagues that was creating these scenarios, and then they'll present to their bosses there's a statistic that shows that, oh, so many calls came in, oh, and we addressed this many. But whenever my own report was presented, it showed the actual things. Yes, X amount of calls came in. No, we did not resolve all their problems. We still have some unsatisfied customers out there. So my job was to come up with how do we then address those issues to resolve our customers' issues so that we can retain our customers. But anyway, in this particular company that I'm thinking about right now, my little effort that I put in to do this did help address a lot of the customers' issues, and we were able to retain a lot of customers. And in return, the company was able to go public and did very well. So, what I learned from that scenario and other scenarios was, if you believe that you're good enough, if you walk on the premise of doing what is good, it will, take you far. And if all of us collectively can do what is good, do best of our abilities, I think we all come out ahead together, better and stronger. So to me, good is good enough. I don't have to compete with anybody else. Because I believe that I have something to offer and everybody else also has something to offer. And if all of us bring in our best foot, our best hands to the table, collectively, we'll all do wonderful things and everybody will benefit for it. So, thank you for listening to this podcast. I want to give a shout out to those who are working behind the camera. I would like to give a shout out to the creative director, Faye Wade, and to my assistant photographer, Peace Wade. Again, be good to yourself and to others. And I'll see you next time on the podcast.